Well, what's up, guys? Mason the Rock Henderson here, and this is the Blacklist Redemption Season 1, Episode 8, Season Finale, Whitehall Conclusion. So, this was a good episode, good finale for the first season. I'm assuming there's going to be more seasons. But let's talk about that plot twist, because I do have some problems with that. First of all, one of the things you need to make a good plot twist is you need to have some subtle clues. Throughout your season, if you're building up to this plot twist, you need to have some clues thrown in there to make us go, oh, now that makes sense. They didn't do that for this. Because throughout this entire season, everything they showed us convinced me Scotty's the bad guy, Howard's the good guy, we're trying to stop Scotty. And then for this final episode, it was like, oh, no, he's actually framing her this entire time. What, you couldn't see that? You couldn't tell that he was framing her? And here's the thing, there's so many other plot twists that I've seen where whenever I hear the plot twist, whenever I see, oh, that's what that meant, I have that thought. I'm like, I think back to something that didn't make sense at the time, but now all of a sudden I'm thinking back with this new information, I'm like, now that makes sense. The only thing that I'm looking back after hearing that Sky is actually the good guy, I think about all the time she proclaimed she was the good guy. And I'm just like, oh, so that's why she was doing that. But still, I mean, even if she was the bad guy, she would have still been saying all of that. She would have still been saying, no, I'm the good guy here. I'm the good guy here. Howard's the crazy one. He's the one that... Yeah, he is, it turns out. But if she was the bad guy, that wouldn't have changed. None of that would have changed. There's nothing different by making him the good guy and her the bad guy. I'm frustrated because they didn't really give us any indication of that. Up until this final episode, everything we've seen has been from Howard's point of view, so everything made it look like Scotty was the bad guy, and Howard was the good guy, and Tom was supposed to be helping Howard. Everything we saw was on that, and then in this final episode, it just complete 180, we see everything from Scotty's point of view, and now all of a sudden it looks like Howard's the bad guy, and she's the good guy. Why? Why couldn't we see a couple episodes from her point of view then? Why couldn't we see a couple times where, oh, maybe she's not as bad as we thought? Because everything we saw this season made it look like she was a bad guy. I mean, even you think about whenever she captured Howard, whenever she found out Tom was her son, what did she do? She tortured him for information. Yeah, I definitely think that that person might possibly be a good guy. Somebody who's willing to torture family for information. It totally makes sense that she's the good guy. And I know what they're trying to go for. It's like, oh, she's not a great person, but Howard's the evil one here. She did some things that are questionable, but Howard's still the worst of the two. Okay, so that's not the point of the plot twist. You're supposed to convince me that, yeah, this entire time everything you thought was right was actually wrong. I don't feel that way. Aside from seeing Howard act all evil at the end, I still don't feel that way at the end of this. I don't feel like this entire season was building up to that plot twist. I feel like the entire season was just convincing us one thing so that at the very end they could be like, oh, got you. You thought he was good, but he was actually bad. Oh, I got you. Oh, we're so clever. Yeah, good job. You got me. I mean, it's pretty much like this entire time, all the mathematicians proved to us was that 2 + 2 = 4, and all of a sudden they came out and just said, you guess what, guys? No, it actually equals 5. Oh, we got you. You had no idea how, but yeah, we got you. It doesn't make any sense. On top of that, you think about what this means for the next season, assuming there will be a next season. This entire season was Tom working for his mom, Scotty, while secretly helping his dad, Howard, try to stop his mom, Scotty, because she was evil. Now, look at the premise for the next season. We've got Tom working for his dad, Howard, who's actually a bad guy, and he's probably going to use his mom, Scotty, to try to stop his evil dad, Howard. It's the same thing! You give us the same premise? Really? I mean, I'm assuming that's where it's going. I don't think this is going to connect to the Blacklist because they've got a completely different storyline going on. So I don't think Howard's going to show up in the Blacklist. I don't think this story is going to show up in the Blacklist. So Season 2 is probably going to pick up where we left off, where Tom helped his dad get the company back, and then we find out his dad is evil, and Scotty's in jail, and then on top of that, Kat shows up with information that, oh yeah, your dad is actually evil. And so, kickstart season 2 with the same exact premise as season 1, except the roles are reversed. Now, Scotty looks like the good guy, and Howard looks like the bad guy. It's just really dumb. It's almost like they couldn't think of a good ending for the season that would help them get a season 2. You know, like, oh, how can we end this so people will come back to watch? And some guy was just like, oh, I know. How about we just make it look like this entire time Tom was actually helping the bad guy? Wouldn't that be interesting? Well, yeah, but we haven't set up for any of that in the rest of our season. Who cares? Who's going to think that hard about it? Everybody that watches the show? So, yeah, that... It did take a lot out of this episode and this season in general. Just that plot twist makes this entire season feels like it was just whatever. Because it didn't feel like this is what it was building up to. It felt like this is just some random contrived plot that they threw in there. So, ooh, surprise guys, now come back for season 2 to find out what happens next. And whenever you do that, it just takes away a lot from your show. It makes me feel like you're just kind of forcing us to come back and watch. I hate it whenever shows do that. So that was frustrating. Aside from that, though, the rest of it was pretty interesting. I mean, seeing the team have to do their thing like they normally do. You know, seeing Tom and Nez get these guys to help out as we see Howard's plan being put into place. You know, he infiltrates the boardroom, uses this little thing on this smart table, which was actually pretty cool to look at. It was very weird and sci-fi feeling, but I'm just like, that's pretty cool. They have a smart table, and he knows that, and so he puts the folder down, and it reads the little scanner thing. But, you know, Tom and Nez doing their thing, and all of a sudden, you know, one of the guys gets shot, and so the guy that's been giving Nez her drugs goes to help the guy, and all of a sudden he gets shot, and Tom and Nez look around the corner, and nobody's there. It's like, Solomon. And so they start running. All of a sudden, Solomon turns from around the corner and just starts walking like a badass. I'm like, please come back for season 2. I'm going to miss Solomon if they decide not to bring him back. But yeah, so, you know, that whole thing ends with they manage to get Whitehall, but Nez and Solomon, or not Nez, Scotty and Solomon escape. And so now they're going to this plant where Scotty sees all these people who apparently are working for her, and she realizes, oh, this was all a setup. And so Tom and Nez go in to catch them. Nez manages to track down Solomon, and then Solomon kind of turns it around on her, takes her gun, quotes some Moby Dick, and then leaves. So he's still out there alive, which is good. But like I said, I hope he comes back. And then Tom finds Scotty, gives her a big bear hug, and then gives her over to the FBI. So that's pretty much how that whole fight scene ends. So after all that's said and done, though, they start questioning everybody. They question Scotty, and they decide she's under arrest. And so then we see Howard talking to Tom, and they're having a nice family moment. But then all of a sudden, Kat goes out to her car. She's looking on the computer. You see something's wrong. I'm like, is this going where I think it's going? Because we saw at the beginning, you know, she had blood dripping from her head. She had a stab wound. Just like, I think I know where this is going. Sure enough, she shows up at Trevor's room. I'm like, I knew it. And she starts calling him out, saying, you know, all these transactions took place from my computer on the days when we were seeing each other, and even the one took place on my phone when you switched our phones on accident. And so she's just calling him out, and then he stabs her with an ice pick and starts saying, you thought I actually cared? And so they have like a little fight, and then all of a sudden she grabs like this candlestick looking thing and bashes his face, and I'm like, okay, go Kat. You know, just, yeah. I didn't see her being able to do that. I don't know, I never saw that side of her before. So whenever he stabbed her, I'm like, I'm guessing she's probably going to fight him off somehow, or maybe she's going to push him, he's going to fall and hit something or something like that. But no, she went full out, I'm going to kill you. So it's just interesting to see that Kat has that side of her. But ultimately, she somehow survives these wounds, manages to get the memory stick that has all this information from her computer, and then manages to take it to Tom before she, I'm assuming, dies. I think. I don't know. I guess we'll get clarity on that maybe in the next episode of the Blacklist, or maybe we'll find out when the next season comes on. But, I mean, that's pretty much how the season ends. We see Howard walking up to Whitehall, and obviously, just from the conversation they have at the end, and seeing how easily Whitehall turned over to Howard's side, it's pretty apparent that they've known each other for a while. So clearly they've been working on this project together. I still don't know what it's about or what exactly they're doing, but whatever it is, it looks bad. It looks like it's going to be something evil, which will probably come into season 2. So, final thoughts on this season. Like I said, a lot of this season was kind of ruined by that plot twist. Just the fact that watching how the season progressed, I talked about how it moved very fast at the beginning, and then realizing they only had 8 episodes, and like, well, that's why it's moving fast. We had to get the plot going quickly. We had to figure out a lot of information quickly. But then seeing at the end how all of that just led to, oh, this entire time you thought you were helping the good guy, but it turns out it's the bad guy. And it just felt so contrived. It felt like none of the clues that we had gotten, none of the stuff that we had seen from this season in general, felt like it was adding up to that. I don't know, it didn't feel right. It didn't feel like this season clicked together as well as it should have because of that ending. So I'm really disappointed in that in general, but the rest of the season was still really good, and honestly, the team did grow on me. I mean, like I said, I want Solomon to come back because he's funny. He and Tom have this really weird connection where they hate each other, but at the same time, it's almost like they're family because of how they talk to each other. We see Tom and Nez have a really good kind of brother-sister moment in this. Dumont, I still don't know what to expect from him, but he did kind of grow on me. He's one I didn't really talk about in this episode. He just kind of played both sides. There's one moment where he's helping Scotty have time to escape, and then the next moment, he finds out that she lied, and he's like, oh, now I'm helping Howard, and I'm just like, whose side are you on? But, he's a character that could possibly grow a bit more if given time. Kat, I mean, at the very end, she finally got to do something, which was nice, but I don't know if she's coming back because, like I said, she might be dead. But honestly, just based on that last scene, seeing what she did to kind of help Scotty out, it kind of makes me want her to come back. So this final episode did have its moments where it did bring out some of the highlights of the season, but for majority of it, that plot twist, all that build up to the plot twist, it just didn't feel like the rest of this season. It felt like it was a completely separate episode from it. And so that's the biggest complaint I have. But all in all, pretty good season. Hopefully they can pick up where they left off. Hopefully we can kind of get back into it with the team and probably trying to stop Howard next season. But I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. What did you like and dislike about this episode and this season in general? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all the good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Blacklist Redemption reviews, and I'll see you at the next one. Peace out.